Let me ask you about that because I think that's really interesting. To your point before about it's the heart, right? You have to follow the heart. You talk about your gut and following that. If you go back to when you got the visa, you have the job, right? You've spent so much time, as you mentioned. I'm sure there was some family pressure of that's what you're supposed to do. I can envision a scenario where if you thought about even before you left that job, if you thought after you got it, if you said, you know what, I'm not going to take this job, it doesn't feel right to me. There would have been another
Mm,
part of you where it would have felt
mm,
wrong for you not to take it. You would have felt like my
mm-hmm.
family's going to be disappointed. So that
Yeah.
emotion that you speak of, in some ways, it can go both ways. And I think that's where it gets really hard for people, where they're like, well, how do I know which gut feel to really trust? Because on one hand, my gut tells me I can't quit this job. That would be crazy of me. But on the other hand, it tells me I have to because this isn't who I am. How do you distinguish that?
Um, I think that whatever decisions that you make is still gonna give you back to the same path, right? For me, um, I now I learn to make decisions by the heart, but back then I didn't know, right? I would just make decisions based on what's logical, like which job would be better in terms of like different benefits, right? So I think that it's okay to make the wrong decision,
Mm,
because once you make the wrong decision, then at least you know that it's wrong, and then it's gonna steer you back into the right path. Like for me, I think that all of those choices was wrong. Even if I could have like a different offer, um, it would still be wrong. And I think the same thing would still gonna happen, but it may happen at a later time instead of with this current job that I hated really much. So it's all about your perspective and how you actually see it, because I think that doesn't matter which direction, what choices that you make, something is gonna happen, and because you're still gonna have that that same way of thinking. When you still have the same way of thinking, you're still gonna create the same reality.
mm.
Doesn't matter which path that you actually take.
So in hindsight, right? Like let's say you could go back and talk to yourself before you took that job. Do you think there's anything you could have said to yourself in that moment that would have had you realize, you know what, I'm going to go move to Canada now and we'll get into it, right? And the traveling. Like, I guess what I'm asking is it possible to realize these things and kind of take the shortcut route to who you should really be? Or do you have to just let it play out how it happens and hope you got, and to your point, get back to where you should be anyway?
I think that you should just let everything to experience the way that it is instead of taking the shortcut.
Okay.
Because if you don't have the experience, if you don't go through that pain, you're not gonna come out as strong as you are now.
Mm,
It's like in the um the caterpillar that turns into the
mhm.
butterfly, right? The metamorphosis. Now when it's almost finished to um the metamorphosis is about to finish and the butterfly is about to take wings, but it still have a layers of that cocoons around it, right? But if you rip off that layer to help the butterfly, it's not going to be able to fly.
Mm,
It's
interesting.
it's gonna die because it doesn't know how to fly, and so it would have to come out the way that it is. It have to go all through that mess and all through that struggles to be as strong as it is now, and to be able to fly by itself. And so if I could go back in time and talk to myself, I was like, just take it easy. It's gonna be okay by the end.